It is far too early to be throwing around the phrase must win, but the urgency certainly is heightened today as Louisville City FC hosts Detroit City FC from Lynn Family Stadium in Louisville, Kentucky. Alongside Manchester United great Gary Bailey, I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have you with us this afternoon. As we take a look at the PowerNet standings, you could see why that urgency is there. These two teams both coming in off 2 straight losses in league play. The bright side is in an 8-team playoff this year, they're both still above a playoff line.
Just if you're Detroit City and Louisville City, well, yeah, a good start, a couple of wins, but the way they lost, 3-0 at home, 5-0 away at Sacramento Republic, it's the manner of the losing I think is of huge concern to Danny Cruz.
And if you're Louisville City FC, maybe this is a get-right game for you because you certainly had Detroit City FC's number all of last year.
Yeah, Sean Tosh with the penalty in the away game there, and then at home, they were dominant. Wilson Harris tucking that one into the corner. Steinwasser nearly gets a hand to it. Then young Josh Winder getting up at a set piece and heading that one home. So they'll be hoping he's in similar form today, will the Louisville City fans.
And they have gotten off to an awfully slow start this year by their standards. The record obviously speaks volumes. They were unbeaten through 12 last year. They're trying to figure out exactly what's gone wrong so far.
Well, look at the goals conceded. 1 last year at the same stage, 9 already. So that's a major problem that Danny Cruz and the rest of the team, they'll have to shore up their defensive work.
And tonight's player profile presented by Commonwealth Credit Union is Sean Tosh. He broke their near 300-minute goalless drought with this goal in Open Cup play on Wednesday.
Yeah, thank heavens they managed to get a win. That'll just lift their confidence, give them a sense that, hey, you know what, we're back to our normal. And mind you, last season he banged in a few goals as well, Sean Tosh. Some from the penalty spot, but some from free kicks. So they'll be hoping that he can get back to scoring form.
Well, anytime that Gary Bailey can talk goalkeeper, it's always a win for us. Nate Steinwasser has been terrific this season despite Detroit City's slow start overall.
He was terrific last season as well. He was 3rd in the save percentage last year, 4th in total saves overall. Wonderful goalkeeper, just turned 30 now, so he's got all the experience in the world and the agility.
And both of these teams need the victory. Yes, they both won in the midweek in US Open Cup. That'll lift the spirits a bit, but both coming in off 2 straight losses in league play. Neither side wants to make it 3. Both would like the victory. Only one team could possibly do that. They're both hunting for a win while the kids hunt for eggs in the back parking lot. It's Louisville City FC and Detroit City FC coming up next.
Our new tagline is, if you smell it, tell it.
A group at U of L is documenting the air quality in Louisville's Rubber Town and empowering residents to report it.
Lived experience is kind of the most important data we have to fight this air pollution issue.
The group called Air Justice created a website for residents to access pollution information and detail what they see and smell.
Air Justice's whole thing is not only informing residents, but getting them to engage.
When the Thompsons first bought their house, all they saw was their dream home. They didn't yet know that with a home equity line of credit from Commonwealth Credit Union, it would be their keys to epic cannonballs and the chance to see the world. As years went by, it allowed them to empower the next generation and make happily ever after come true. Which begs the question, what could your home be doing for you? Let's find out together. Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
I've been to Abbey Road on the river virtually every year since it started. So much more than the Beatles, and it's the best you'll ever hear of the Beatles, all in one. You can be just stupefied at how talented they are. It puts you in a good mood. The music is fantastic. The musicianship is unbelievable.
Tickets on sale now for Abbey Road on the River, presented by WDRB. Go to AROTR.com and get a big $20 discount with the code WDRB.
When we win,
You win.
we're partnering with Wendy's to celebrate all Louisville City and racing wins with a free small frosty.
No purchase necessary.
Simply go to any participating Louisville area Wendy's the day after a win. Show the club's social media posts featuring Wendy's and claim your free small frosty.
Enjoy this Wendy's treat after every Louisville City and racing win.
A happy game day to all of you. The Easter Bunny paid a visit to the Louisville City FC players on their way in today as they celebrate Easter around the grounds. Egg hunt for the kids in the side lot, and then as they've gone through the day, so many more festivities to come. as they celebrate the holiday. And now we'll celebrate today's game by taking a look at the starting 11, brought to you by Breeze Airways, beginning with the home side. Note the Easter Bunny not in the 11 for Danny Cruz.
Well, it's enough other changes. I think 5 of them from the team that lost 5-0 at San Antonio. Goalkeeping change, Oliver Zemler in for Carl Morton, then Amadou Diaz in, Rasmus Tellefsen, Paulo Del Piccolo, Wilson Harris up front for Cam Lancaster, who's injured. Also out is Musha Galusa, Carlos Mogul, and Oscar Jimenez.
On the other side for Trevor James, well, you see all the changes for Louisville City FC? None for Detroit City FC.
Yeah, none on the pitch. It's the same 11 that lost 1-0 in their last USL match to Indy 11. There is one change on the bench, and it's an important one. Yazid Matthews available after suspension. He got the goal in the Open Cup, the only goal against Detroit Gold Star.
So they're hoping that they can get back on track against a team that had their number last year in Louisville City FC. 2 matches in the regular season won by Louisville. They played an Open Cup. It was a 1-1 draw that Louisville took on penalties. Louisville in the purple from right to left, and Detroit City FC in the white and mint from left to right. And we are underway from Lynn Family Stadium with Gary Bailey. I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have you with us this afternoon. Detroit City FC hoping to start on the front foot. They have the big targets up front. They're happy with the service they've had at times this season. They just haven't had the goals fall for them quite yet.
A big match for Lou City as well. When you come off the sort of 2 bad results they've had, 5-0 away at Sac Republic, 3-0 at home to El Paso. You know, you've got to bounce back. And yes, there was a cup match during the week, but they'll be desperate to get a good result here. The manager will be, the players, the fans, everybody, the boys in purple, and of course Le Rouge in a anything but Le Rouge outfit. And white, what do you call it, white and mint?
Mint, yes, mint. I got to find the word for mint, but no Le Rouge today.
Yeah, but also for them, a couple of home defeats, and normally their home ground has been a fortress, so maybe they can pick up points on the road.
Well, Lynn Family Stadium has also been a fortress, but don't tell that to El Paso, who came in here a couple of weeks ago and won 3-0. The weather tonight is much better than it was in the midweek for Louisville in the Open Cup game. It was downpouring. Today's weather report brought to you by Advanced ENT and Allergy. 60 degrees, sunny and breezy. It was just a monsoon on Wednesday night. Talked to Danny Cruz about how the pitch played in those conditions, and he said the groundskeepers typically do a terrific job of making sure players aren't slipping and sliding all over the place, and the field typically drains pretty well. It was nobody's fault that players were slipping and sliding except for Mother Nature's the other night. It's so early in the season still that the grass hasn't fully grown to what it typically is. So when you pair that with unseasonable rain they had, it made for some odd conditions, but they persisted and they came through with a 1-0 victory anyway. Early chance here for Lou City. Gonzalez sticks it through and out for a corner. Oh, no, they change it. Goal kick, last off of Louisville.
Tellefsen back in the team. He's got a point to prove. Exciting to see Wilson Harris start. Fantastic season last year, 17 goals in his first season with the club, and with the injuries to Cam Lancaster, then a lot depends on whether Wilson Harris can be that point person to stick goals in the back of the net for Lou City.
It's always been an either or. It's tantalizing to think about what it could be like if they were both out there at the same time, and it's just never happened that way. Even last year down the stretch, when Cam Lancaster was healthy, Wilson Harris missed some time. On the left wing for Reese Williams. Shielded off by Perez. Won it in the end. And Tosh gets it clear to Tellefsen. Perez lunges in. Gets it from Simonson. Detroit City FC still on the prowl. Williams. Handed up in the air by Winder. Brought down by Dia. Pressured hard by Ballard. Very fast start here for Detroit City FC. Buzzing to every loose ball.
Very positive start from the visitors. And just looking at the left side of Lou City, Amadou Dia, it was down the left that Sac Republic scored their first 3 goals And Danny Cruz saying that he just wasn't happy with the defending down the left, so Musha Galusa stepped aside, and Jimenez, and it remains to be seen if Amadou Dia can really shore up that left-hand side and bring across probably Del Piccolo to you know, sort of help him in front in the midfield.
Dia had it blocked. Commonwealth Credit Union has been bettering lives in the communities they serve since 1951. To learn more, visit WeSeeYouDifferently.com. Danny Cruz mentioned in that Sacramento game last weekend that he also felt the team sort of had the wind knocked out of the sails early on. And after they allowed the early goal, it was almost a, oh, here we go again feeling after how the El Paso match went in the previous week. So part just not playing up to par, and part just not mentally handling the adversity the way they have in the past. And he gave all credit where it was due to Sacramento as well. He said that if you go into a game this season against Sacramento and you are not at your best, that's what the result is going to look like. They are that special this year. It slipped through to Ownby, in alone. Brian Ownby saved by Steinwasser. File that one in the back of your mind. 5 minutes in, a chance to get off the mark. It's one of the guys you want in that spot, Brian Ownby. But the accountant comes up big.
Yeah, it's a fantastic ball that gets played here. Jorge Gonzalez perfectly weighted. He keeps himself onside. And as you say, of all the players, Brian Ownby's the one you think is almost certain to hit the back of the net. He hits himself on the head for not scoring. But the accountant kept that debit column at 0. And well done, Nate Steinwasser.
Been with Detroit City FC since 2019, and even further back in 2016, a bit back when they were still an amateur side. Flag comes up this time on Ownby. Steinwasser was the team MVP in 2022, stirring the league in save percentage, 4th in total saves. Big reason that they had as much success as they did in their inaugural USL Championship season. So far this year, all 3 of their losses have been by 1-0 score lines. That's almost only because of Steinwasser, 2nd in the league in saves. I would say that the 1-0 score lines are a bit misleading in some of those games for Detroit City, where probably could have and should have lost by multiple goals if not for the efforts of Steinwasser.
Yeah, and they're also struggling to score at the other end. They've lost Hopono, they've lost Pato, Declan Wynn as a fullback. I mean, those are all top quality players, very difficult to replace. And Trevor James did a great job last season, and now he's got to bring players in who can be equally as good as those he lost. And we wait to see if he can do that or not. It's not an easy task, and I don't think they have the biggest budget in the league either.
There's a reason goal scorers make as much money as they do. It's the hardest thing to do in this sport. We're waiting for either Simonson or Morris to step up in that area. One thing they have been pleased with is chance creation. They are among the league leaders in crosses sent in from out wide, and they have 2 big bodies in there in Simonson and Morris. Just a matter of putting it all together finally.
I just hope this Ben Morris does well for them. The youngster had 2 ACL tears, not 1 but 2. And he actually played in the first team at Ipswich and was looking like he had a great future. And then those 2 bad injuries, and he's had to rebuild his career. So we wish him all the best and hope that he's a real success at Detroit City.
February of 2019, the first ACL tear. 2nd one came in August of 2020. Last year, the 2022 season, was his first as a professional where he played more than 4 games with Ipswich. I'll repeat that. His first as a professional since he started in 2016, where he played more than 4 games because of the health. And a free kick on the way now for Detroit City FC.
That's a free kick in a great position there. Richard Ballard, who started his career at Lou City, is back to cause problems. And if you want a free kick, you wouldn't pick a much better spot than that. Just outside the box, you can get it up and over, and at a slight angle. Pleas of innocence from the Lou City players, as you would expect.
Between Morris and Ballard, they're banking on health, because Ballard's been in that same boat. 2017, he played a full season, but limited to 4 games in 2018, 2 games in 2019, a full season in 2021, but then again 11 games last season. So Ballard's in that same boat where he just hasn't played all that much, but when he does, he's a terrific player in this league. between Ballard and Morris. If the health is there, Detroit City FC banking on them providing the goals this year. Chance to bring one right here. Maxi Rodriguez and Richie Ballard standing over the free kick as Ali Zemla sets his wall. Three-man wall. Enough bodies here, Gary?
Well, it's up to the goalkeeper. It should be enough. If he's positioned them well, he may just look after his side of the goal and then tempt them to try and get over the wall and down under the crossbar, which is difficult to do from there.
Maxi Rodriguez curled it just wide.
Not a bad effort. It wasn't too far away, and it had pace as well, but you can see Oliver Zemler working his way across the goal just in case. So as the ball comes in, goalkeeper scoodles across and probably would have had it covered, but decent effort.
Oliver Zemla, 41st overall pick in the 2023 MLS draft by Colorado Rapids. They had their eye on him, Louisville. They felt that it would be a good body to bring in to not only be there in case Kyle Morton had an injury, which he's had in injured past in this league, but a goalkeeper capable of challenging to take that #1 shirt from him altogether. And they're pleased with what they've seen from Zemla so far. Earns to start today with Morton healthy and on the bench.
Now, certainly if Kyle Morton does get his place back, he'll know that he's going to have to hold on to it and play well, and that's exactly what Danny Cruz would want his attitude to be.
Wilson Harris just kept it in. Harris weaves through, now poked away by Matt Lewis. Winder beaten with pace by Morris. Can he recover? Ben Morris coming in alone. Morris, far post, just wide. That's both teams now with one-man chances on the goalkeeper, and neither finished. It was Ownby at the other end, Morris at this end.
Great pace, Ben Morris. Pace with the ball as well. He's outstripping young Josh Winder. And this ball is neither a shot nor a pass, because you can see Simonson, if it had been a bit further back, it would have been a great pass. A bit further in, and it's a goal, and he threads the needle between goal and attacker. Very close there from Ben Morris.
Winder beaten initially. Did well to make it all the way back and affect the shot with the slide. I don't think Danny Cruz will be happy with the way he was beaten at midfield. He had an injury scare recently, Josh Winder. A scare is all it was, fortunately, for the bright young 17-year-old. Runner-up for Young Player of the Year last year. He's been away at times this year with the US U19s. Now it's Steinwasser's turn to stare down a free kick. This one will be a service. Unless either Del Piccolo or Gonzalez are feeling particularly good about themselves today. Del Piccolo for the penalty spot, flicked down and saved by Steinwasser. It was Winder who got ahead to it, but he comes up limping a bit, favoring his right ankle.
Yeah, he's big and tall, and it's an ideal player to get into the box for set pieces. But not enough power on that to cause Steinwasser any problems.
That ball did just go out over the line. Harris inside for Del Piccolo. Back out to Harris. Wilson Harris drives it through. Del Piccolo had the assist on the goal Wednesday. Sean Tosh headed in the free kick from Del Piccolo. The 1-0 win over Lexington in US Open Cup play. Here's Tellefson. Wilson Harris guides it through for Gonzalez. I don't know how Wilson Harris got that ball through that window.
He's frustrated, Jorge Gonzalez. Just took a while to turn and get that attempted shot on target. Lovely ball in from Wilson Harris. Like you say, Gonzalez unable to affect the shot on Steinwasser.
First Wi-Fi corner kick of the night for Louisville, or the afternoon, I should say. Sent in toward the back posts. Detroit City FC able to get it clear.
It's been a little better spell for Lou City now after a bright start from Detroit. They're slowly getting on the front foot, which is good to see. Some pushing. The referee was going to blow and decided not to. But just going back to that Sacramento Republic defeat, Lou City conceding 22 attempted shots against Sacramento. That's the most for any club in the USL so far this season. So defensively it was, as we see the coming together of the two of them, it was a disaster, and this is the first time they've ever been beat 5-0. So all in all, horrendous stats on the day, and just as Danny Cruz says, just the most woeful of performances that he probably wants to forget about.
Rutz cleared away by Gibson. Often the forgotten man in that midfield, Gibson. That's his role defensively. They got the goal, of course, to win on Wednesday night, Louisville City FC. But you have to go all the way back to their match on March 18th against Monterey Bay FC in the 48th minute for their last goal in league play after they've been shut out back-to-back by El Paso and Sacramento.
And that's what's weird, Joe, is that their win against Orange County away was a really good win under difficult circumstances. And then Monterey Bay as well. I mean, there's not many teams that go there and get a result. San Antonio went and won there with a goal in the dying moment, so the champions really struggled. So you thought, wow, two great away wins. Lou City are flying, and then you get these two results, a 3-0 home loss and a 5-0 shellacking away from home, and you think, well, what just happened? Where's the difference? What went wrong? And I don't think anyone can put their finger on it. Danny Cruz is saying it was just the worst of all performances, and as you quite rightly said, they almost seemed to lose it in the last 20 minutes. A lot of personal errors. Sac Republic hit the crossbar twice, as well as scoring 5. So it's just one of those performances you want to forget about as quickly as possible.
There was one silver lining to come out of the trip for Danny Cruz. He is the godfather of Mark Briggs' son, and it was the first time he actually got to go meet his godson because of the pandemic. So one silver lining for Danny Cruz. Those two head coaches in this league very close from their time together at Real Monarchs. He did say that was about the only thing salvageable, however, from the trip.
Yeah, look, it's the first time that Danny Cruz has really come under that sort of pressure. I mean, be fair, in his time, what is it now, his 3rd season, they have just been doing nothing except win. And yes, they might not have won the final game against San Antonio, but they won the East, they got to the final. It's been just wonderful football, great results, great runs, breaking records last season for wins and goals scored and points and all sorts of things. It's the first time that I think he's really had to, trouble.
Flag stayed down, Wilson Harris, the chance now, pulls it wide. So Ownby and Harris, both one-on-one with the keeper, both have missed it. Ownby came in the 5th minute, now Harris in the 17th, a wry smile from their leading scorer last season.
It's a bit of a defensive slip there as he turns, Stephen Carroll, and then again, if you had to pick 2 players on Lou City's team to have a one-on-one with the goalkeeper, it'd be Wilson Harris and Brian Ownby, without a shadow of a doubt. And both of them have missed what you would consider as relatively easy opportunities.
Similar start in a way to their match at home against El Paso 2 weeks back, where they had a couple of chances early on, and then out of nowhere, El Paso able to find the opening goal. They quickly doubled down on that with a defensive error from Louisville. Almost had another one of those here as Winder overcooked it back to Zemla, but the keeper very good with his feet. That's one of the biggest positives from Oliver Zemla. Very comfortable with his feet. Perez bounces back and forth in his last off of Detroit City FC. Fans, when Lou City wins, you win. This season, Lou City has partnered with Wendy's to give you a free small Frosty if the boys in purple win. No purchase necessary. Offer valid the following day after a win. Head to any participating Louisville area Wendy's to redeem. You a Frosty guy? You ever had one in your life?
I haven't, no.
I'll tell you what, if I had to bet money either way, I would have said you were on the no side of that. Look out here, Ownby wiped out by Lewis.
Be surprised if that's not a yellow card.
That might draw.
Late.
It's got to, no. Sergei Demianchuk, no, just a warning. Wow.
It's very late, and it's a very hard one. It's got all the hallmarks of a yellow card. Brian Ownby immediately appeals, does get the ball first. You've got to be careful with Brian Ownby when you commit like that, because you know how clever a player he is.
So no yellow card, just a stern talking to. It was from a wide free kick on Wednesday that Louisville scored the lone goal against Lexington. Del Piccolo served it, Tosh scored it. A Fifth Third Bank free kick here for the boys in purple. Gonzalez provides the in-swinging option with the right foot. Del Piccolo, the left-footed option. It'll be Gonzalez. It was there, it seemed, for Winder before it was headed away. Still loose in the area. And now Detroit City FC can get it clear, looking out on the counter. Williams ahead to Morris. Well done in transition defensively by Louisville to get all those guys back behind the ball. Back out to Williams. Williams had it blocked. Flies in to knock it down. Lost it to Tellefson. "20 minutes have come and gone here. Louisville City have been on the front foot, but they missed a couple of big opportunities. Now it's Gonzalez's turn. It's blocked. Ownby there with Gonzalez, and Steinwasser makes another save. Doing everything but scoring so far.
Just for a second there, I thought Brian Ownby was going to step in and take that because he was better balanced, but give Jorge Gonzalez credit, he kept on going.
Gonzalez keeps it in at the end line. Del Piccolo for Amadou Dia. Ownby heads it across goal, and Steinwasser's there.
That opportunity there, he does so well, Jorge Gonzalez. And have a look here, he gets the ball, he cuts inside, he does some good dribbling, goes one way, comes back the other, comes inside. And just there, I'm looking at Ownby coming in, and he had a chance because he already sized up the goal. But again, give Jorge Gonzalez credit, he keeps going, and he has to take the shot. It's the ball's at his feet. Once again, Steinwasser making another crucial save. What you mentioned earlier, he's been keeping Detroit in matches, and today is no different.
Already a couple of big ones for Steinwasser. Neither of these teams can seem to find the back of the net. Their goalless droughts climbing. Louisville City FC in league play. Zembla very confident off the line, diving header out of play. He's got to scramble back here. Detroit City FC tries to take it quickly. Zembla turning to face it. Coming into the day in league play, again, they both won by 1-0 score lines on Wednesday in Open Cup. But 222 minutes scoreless in league play for Louisville coming in. 192 minutes scoreless for Detroit City FC coming in.
So what are the odds in a 0-0 draw?
You said it, not me. At some point, it just starts playing mental tricks on you. You feel like you can't get it through.
I think certainly for Lou City, being tight in defense, keeping a clean sheet is paramount. Even if it is a 0-0 draw, after conceding 8 in 2 games, you've got to get your defensive work right. That's step number 1. But they've got so much talent going forward. We've seen it already. They should be 2-0 up. So you can't but help think that Brian Ownby, Wilson Harris, and others will get more chances in this match. And having said that, Ben Morris, what about his pace up front? He looks more than useful.
He had his opportunity as well. Pushed it wide to the far post. No shots on target yet for Detroit City FC. Winder looking over the top. One of his best attributes, the way he's able to play it out of the back. Shouts of handball for Louisville there. It looked like Jorge Gonzalez handled it with his right hand. Gibson threads the needle for Dia. Falls for Rasmus Tellefson. Tellefson off of Wilson. Harris comes all the way through. That one hit the scoreboard.
And if it didn't, it would have ended up about 3 miles down the road.
I think the egg hunt is actually out that way, so some lucky kid would have found a soccer ball to go with the Easter egg hunt.
Manny Perez is unable to get the ball down. I think in those situations, your number 1 thought when you hit it is head down, because almost always climbs up over the crossbar. You want to hit down into the ground as best you can. And easier said than done, though. Lovely little bit of skill, though, from Tellefsen. Sent the defender out the park nearly with his twists and turns.
26-year-old from Denmark. I feel he has the creativity and an under-the-radar physical quality that will make him thrive in this league. Asked Danny Cruz a couple of weeks ago if anybody surprised him this offseason, maybe in the way they came back fitter or a new acquisition who had an attribute they couldn't quite pick up on film. And his answer was Tellefsen. Just felt he was faster and more natural with the ball at his feet than they could even figure out on film and with the metrics that made it their way to Louisville in the scouting process. So they have high hopes that he can be a regular for them in the midfield. Paolo Del Piccolo, of course, climbing in age at 31. See as the season goes along, if there are times where Tellefsen can spell him, and they hope that Dylan Maris can be the consistent starter in the midfield next to Gibson and Del Piccolo, but Tellefsen provides a good option. Now it's Steinwasser's turn for a diving header, telling Zemla, anything you can do, I can do better, except he picks up a knock for his efforts.
It's a tackle on the goalkeeper after the ball is gone. And again, the question is, certainly should be a free kick, point number one. Point number two, is it even a yellow? Have a look, Manny Perez colliding with the keeper. If a player gets to the ball first and heads it, or okay, maybe he dives into him a little bit, to be fair. I don't think there's much Manny Perez can do about that, but there's a coming together. Unfortunately, I think he'll be, yeah, he's getting up. Steinwasser, tough as they come.
Perez looked like he was just trying to avoid it. Steinwasser almost seems like he's pleading for a card now, but
he's asking the same question. You know, the guy hit me, but to be fair, when you're coming flying out like that, it's hard to keep out the way. One of those grey areas, difficult for referees. Sergei Diamanchuk having to make those decisions. The accountant just evaluating the pain and the problems.
"12 clean sheets last year in his USL Championship debut season. That's one thing that has bothered Trevor James so far. They haven't posted a clean sheet in league play. Finally got one in the Open Cup on Wednesday. That was their calling card last year, their defensive organization, all the clean sheets they had throughout the season, and they haven't registered one yet.
But they haven't been scoring, and that's also, and he says goal scoring's been at a premium. Can't always rely on your defense. You're right, though. You want to try and keep as many clean sheets as possible, but you have to be scoring at the other end, because when things don't work out in defense, and you will come up against great goals and great goal scorers, and then you have to be scoring at the other end as well, and they haven't been doing that, Detroit City.
Offside flag comes up. The official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe is Select. Visit www.selectsportamerica.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Amadou Dia, hoping to give the crowd a reason to cheer. Harris back to Dia. Tellefsen slips it through for Gonzalez. Jorge Gonzalez cuts it back inside. Header is wide by Ownby.
It's another great combination up front, and Ownby's so close, so too Gonzalez. He's worked so hard up front, uses his body, gets his body between him and the defender. Wilson Harris aware of the runs as well, but Tellefsen, it's his pass that causes the damage. Gonzalez battling away, gets the shot, and Brian Ownby just can't beat the defender to the ball. I think it was Michael Bryant, was it? Or Reese Williams, who gets the header in there and just stops Brian Ownby scoring.
Looking at the stats we have provided to us before that chance, Louisville City FC was already up to 0.85 expected goals inside of a half an hour. I imagine once that chance factors in, they're going to be up over 1, and they have nothing to show for it on the scoreboard. Hasn't been for a lack of opportunities. They've just squandered them all so far.
Two great opportunities. One-on-one with the keeper, Wilson Harris and Brian Ownby. You expect at least one of them to hit the back of the net. It's always a good measurement, expected goals, of what you can get from a team. But that's only what you expect, not what actually happens. And that's the key to all of this. You've got to have the talent or the luck on the day to turn that into something. and it hasn't happened. Maybe credit again to Nate Steinwasser. Maybe that's the big difference.
Brian Ownby expecting to get a goal here, hopefully for Louisville. Ahead to Wilson Harris. Looking for Gonzalez. Dia back for Harris. Nice give and go. Amadou Dia feeds Tellefson, and it caught up between his feet. Gonzalez. Tyler Gibson. Brian Ownby. Overlap for Manny Perez. Turns the corner. Perez for Harris. It's blocked. Tellefson goes down, stumbled over the ball, and Richie Ballard comes away with it.
This is some good play from Lou City. I'm sure Danny Cruz was on the touchline thinking, where was this against Sacramento Republic and El Paso? It's been real incisive attacking play.
Koch comes across to guide that one out of play. Hey, Louisville, half and full season ticket membership packages are available now for 2023. Lou City's next regular season home match is Saturday, April 15th against San Antonio FC. Don't miss that one. Bring the whole family out for a 7:30 p.m. kickoff at Lynn Family Stadium. Visit louiscity.com today for more information. So you get a title rematch next week at home against San Antonio. They've gotten off to an interesting start, San Antonio. They've picked up the points, but they've done it with smoke and mirrors more so than the domination they had last year. Very short roster right now because of injuries, and they just came into the year with a smaller than normal roster, trying to replicate what they did last year, which was get it to June, get it to July, and then bring in a few pieces on loan once they could evaluate how things look. Downside of that is if you start picking up injuries, now you're left plugging holes on a leaky boat, and that's where they have been. But they've continued to pick up points along the way.
They did. They got a great win at Monterey Bay with a late goal from Bailey, and it was a fantastic strike right into the top corner. And they, as you said, they battled their way through. They look sharp, and they brought in 3 or 4 players who have MLS experience. So, if anything, they're a stronger outfit than last season, and them, along with Sacramento Republic, I think, are the 2 teams of the USL at the moment.
If you're just going by the eye tests and you've watched games across the league, I would say Sacramento is head and shoulders above just about anybody. I would even put them above San Antonio just because of their depth. I don't think San Antonio has that depth yet. If they're both on their best day, different story, but Sacramento is terrific. Gibson looking ahead. Amadou Dia has some time and space. We're 2 for 2 on hitting the scoreboard now. That's not what you want.
A wild shot there from Amadou Dia, but once again, they're getting space out wide. They're getting balls into dangerous areas. Lou City just not able to move the back of the net, but they're not too far away from it, though.
Ten shots to 2, 4 on target to none. We have eclipsed 250 minutes in league play without a goal for Louisville, and 220 minutes for Detroit City FC.
Again, it's come out the blue, this situation with Lou City, because after their 2 away wins on the road in the West, you're thinking this is no different from last season. This is the team to beat. They produce results. Brian Ownby at Orange County was fantastic, as he was against Monterey Bay with a winning goal. And you're thinking, you know, service is normal, and then bang, bang, 2 just horrendous results. I mean, they had a fantastic crowd at home for that 3-0 defeat by El Paso. 10,000 fans turning up. First home match, great expectations, and it must have been a very quiet locker room after that match, and even quieter probably after the Sacramento Republic game. 5 goals conceded.
To give you a sense at how unusual this start is for Louisville, as they're called for a foul against Jorge Gonzalez. Last year, in all competitions, so League Play and Open Cup, Louisville didn't lose its second match until May 21st. That second loss came on April 1st this year, a month and a half earlier. In addition to that, they didn't give up their 9th goal of the season until their 14th game, also on May 21st. They conceded their 9th goal this year on April 1st in their 4th game. So 10 matches earlier, they conceded their 9th goal.
April 1st, I bet Daniel Cruz was hoping it was just an April Fool's joke. Yeah, look, strange things happen in soccer. You just got to accept it and get on with it and bounce back. You know, you can, as a Man United fan, you can look at the 7-0 loss to Liverpool and go, what the hell happened? And yet, since then, Man United have been fantastic. So it does happen.
Ballard serves it up. Pardon me, Rodriguez on the service. Now it's Ballard turning against his former club and his former stadium. That's out of play for a throw-in. Richie Ballard spent 2017 to 2019 with Louisville. Won back-to-back titles in 17 and 18. And 39 appearances over his 3 years with Louisville. Was injured very early in 2019 and missed the rest of that season.
Still trying to get used to the mint color from Le Rouge.
Famous statue in the Detroit area, and the colors of this uniform are meant to reflect the oxidation of the statue. Think of the Statue of Liberty in your head, that green color. That is because of the seawater, all the scientific stuff that's above my head. But that is the homage for the, and the reason for the mint in the kits of Detroit City FC.
Okay, thanks for that. But Le Rouge, what do you describe? Is it like a type of brown?
Burgundy, red, yeah.
Yeah, burgundy, okay.
You don't see any of that in this kit. All the Detroit City FC fans, however, looking forward to later this month when they will host Minnesota United in US Open Cup play. Last year, they took down Columbus Crew at their home stadium, Keyworth and Hamtramck. So they will host once again in MLS Club and hope for that same upset result. Here's Wilson Harris. Dispossessed cleanly by Lewis. Lewis went down on his own volition. He was hobbling at the other end of the field, made this play and went back down, and now Sergei Demianchuk will stop the play and let him get the attention he needs. Tried to soldier through. Demianchuk just gave this signal that it was for a head injury. That's not the case. He went down holding his leg before and holding it again.
He did it as he cleared the ball, so there was no tackle. It's just a stretch of the foot, and that's always a concern when nobody's around you and you go down. Then let's have a look. Wilson Harris here trying to jink inside, comes in on the right there. Now watch, as the ball goes up, he'll go to clear it, and as he clears it, he suddenly winces, grabs his right ankle, and down he goes.
Started earlier. He's down on his own end. They're making the signal for a substitution. Hate to see that. You could tell once he went down the second time, after clearing the ball like that, he realized he was done for the day.
Of course, as a player, you're thinking to yourself, there's something wrong. If I stay, I could make it worse. And so probably is the sensible decision, although you obviously rely on the medical staff to advise you as well.
The only problem is they don't have a natural center back available on the bench. Jalen Robinson, more of an outside back, but could play inside in this three-back. O'Neal Fisher is a defender slash midfielder. If he comes in, he's usually a wing back. Question of, can you slide either Reese Williams or Connor Rutz to that back line of three and let Fisher come in? But not a real like-for-like option here for Trevor James on the bench. Also going to be losing some size on that back line.
He's walking off very, very slowly there, and that's a concern for Matt Lewis.
29-year-old, made 25 starts last year. Did miss some time last season with an ankle injury. Homegrown player for Sporting Kansas City, signed that deal in 2018, but it never panned out. Was released after 11 months. It is Jalen Robinson getting ready to take his place. Came over from Loudoun United last season. The year prior, Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Third consecutive year here in USL Championship after a few years in MLS with DC United. Substitution brought to you by Fortna. It looks like he is just slotting in for Lewis. No shuffling needed on that back line. Bob Lilly in Pittsburgh, and then last year when he was with Loudoun, used mostly as a wingback in a set, but duty calls. He's put on the inside here. Amadou Dia pinching in, finds Ownby to the back post, and wide of everybody. Looked more like a cross than a shot from Ownby, but nobody made that back post run.
Yeah, the pass itself to Ownby just lacked a little bit of pace. Up until that point, Amadou Dia was brilliant. Everything he did was perfect. I just felt that Brian Ownby had to wait for the ball to arrive to him, and then when it did come, he was struggling to decide whether to shoot or cross. And you're right, I'm not quite sure it was either two, but have a look at Amadou Dia. Brilliant here, runs there, the pass there, bobbles, it waits, and then, well, there's no one in the box. I could only assume he was trying to either feed someone in or just trying to bend it far post. Either way, it didn't work out.
Quiet afternoon so far for Zemla. They'll hope to keep it that way.
Just wonder if this isn't the repeat for Lou City of the El Paso match, where they had all the chances and then bang, bang, they were 2-0 down.
Ownby still with it. Ownby! Never know with him. On a moment's notice, he could produce a magical moment.
Yeah, he's a quality player. For me, he's one of the best players in the league, and we saw that at Orange County when he scored, and Monterey Bay when he scored the winner. Let's have a look. His first touch, awareness, quick turn, head up, and then has that strike from 18 yards, edge of the box, not too far away. One or two defenders sort of standing off him, but maybe that's because there were runners coming, and that's what Lou City have done well. They've got numbers up front, and if you're defending, do you close Brian Ownby down? Do you pick up the runner? And that's always the difficulty when the opposition are able to push numbers forward at you.
Ownby, one of the older players, veterans in this starting 11, not really showing any signs of slowing down. 32 years of age now, a lot of wear on those tires, but continues to improve. Danny Cruz talked a bit about that early this season, and he still approaches the game like a hungry 23-year-old. Last year set a career high in goals with 10. Del Piccolo and Tosh. Gonzalez holding up the play. Out to Ownby. Ownby. So long for Amadou Dia. Dia floats one toward the back post. Punched over by Steinwasser. Looked more like a cross. Continued to drift, and Steinwasser had to make the play.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a cross, but in the end it nearly floated in. Steinwasser keeping his eye on it and making sure it didn't drop under the crossbar, because there were two bodies at the far post for Lou City, and Amadou Dia seen them. I'm sure he's trying to pick them out. Have a look, they're running in. You'll just see them coming. Tellefson was one of them. Can't quite see it in that picture.
5-5 corner kick from Del Piccolo to Tosh. It's saved by Steinwasser.
Wow. He's been kept so busy, Steinwasser. I mean, really, Lou City could have been 2 or 3 up very easily, but for his goalkeeping heroics. It's a near post. Whenever you're defending corners, you don't want to allow a near post flick on, because it's very difficult to defend against.
And the ensuing corner fell to Steinwasser. Winder getting into it a bit.
Referee taking the ball back. Just bouncing it, so I think the ref must have just stopped play when he saw 2 players pushing and shoving, and Nate Steinwasser had the ball, so the referee decides to give it to him back.
There's Del Piccolo on the corner, Tosh on the header. That combination popping up again. That's what got them the goal on Wednesday against Lexington. Continues to be the old guard carrying Louisville at times when they need it most this season. Del Piccolo 8th season with Louisville, 7th as the club's captain. Club's leader in appearances, second to Tosh in minutes. And it's the inverse the other way. Tosh, the leader in minutes, second to Del Piccolo in appearances. Can rely on those two all day long, every day, and twice on Saturdays.
That is a big challenge for any team that has a core group that's been hugely successful. Is as they start to age out, you have to replace them with players of equal ability. Not easy to do.
Here's Rutz, down by Dia. It's been an interesting tightrope to walk for Danny Cruz, starting to retool on the fly, knowing those players are maybe near the end of their careers. That's where the likes of Tellefson pop in, a natural replacement for Del Piccolo, perhaps. On a day where Dylan Maris is fully fit, you can give Del Piccolo a break.
There's three crucial players on the pitch that are all over 30. Tyler Gibson, Del Piccolo, you mentioned, Brian Ownby, Corbin Bone left at the end of last season. These are all great players who've served the club well. Cam Lancaster, who's still struggling with injury. If those players all start to struggle to make minutes, then you need some really good players to replace them.
And make it 4 on the pitch. Sean Tosh as well, 31 years of age, so 4 out there today.
You're right.
Had a good chat with Danny Cruz about that this week. I asked him, is it odd, or is there ever a weird line to tiptoe in coaching players who are just about your age? And he said they've more than gotten past that. Just a respect thing. He's been around the game for so long as a coach now, where it rarely crosses their minds. There are times where he does have to make sure he pushes the right button, because he feels if he slips up in his messaging to the team, that's when maybe they say, oh, he does lack a little experience. So he is conscious of it. Ownby was a former teammate of Danny Cruz. Still the league's youngest head coach. From the corner. Loose for Gonzalez, out to Tellefson. And over the head of Tosh. Into stoppage time now, presented by the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Just 3 minutes tacked on.
It's going to be interesting to find out. We won't find out straight away, but after the game, what the halftime chats were about. Because for Danny Cruz, well, firstly for Trevor James, you see in picture here, it's been a game in which they've been lucky to keep it at 0-0, but you could take the positive and say, hey, well done goalkeeper, well done defenders. We've kept it at 0-0, now let's go and win the game. For Danny Cruz, it could be a case if you played so well, just keep doing what you're doing, the goals will come. It's an interesting conundrum for both managers as to how they choose to describe what's happened in the first half. But from our point of view, it's just been Lou City just having too many really good chances and not taking any of them.
11 shots, 4 on target. And this should be the first yellow card of the match. Maxi Rodriguez, the guilty party. Yellow card brought to you by World of Beer.
It's just an automatic yellow. You know, why do it there? If he's on the edge of your box, I get it, but it's now you're having to be so careful. And we've seen some really hard tackles. We've seen players crashing into each other and no yellow card given. And it's given for that in your opponent's half. Really?
And for a player like Maxi Rodriguez in the middle of that midfield, you know you might have that come up again today where you have to make a similar play, and now you're going to think twice, and Louisville might be able to have a leg up on the attack because of it.
100%.
Morris feeding ahead to Simonson, who's been a forgotten man in this half. Simonson, the service just hasn't been there. They haven't had much of the ball in the attacking half of the field, Detroit City FC, to even get Simonson involved.
It's a problem for them, and it's something that Trevor James spoke to us about. He said, you know, an attack is our issue. Our goal scoring's at a premium. Well, it's at a premium if you can't get ball to the strikers. And he said, I want to get the ball wide, get more crosses in there, give our front players something to work with. We just haven't seen much of that yet. And let's just see how they do here. They're in a wide position, but choose to go back with it. Got to get on the front foot at some stage. But again, 0-0 away from home at Lou City. They might be happy with that, Detroit City.
That's how it ends after 45, but the goalless streaks are climbing for both of these teams in league play. At the end of the first half, Louisville City FC's goalless drought has reached 267 minutes. Detroit City FC's has reached 237 minutes. They have some things to figure out in the dressing room.
They do. And good luck with the managers for figuring it out. For Trevor James, it's getting service up front. For Danny Cruz is taking the chances they have made and obviously making some more chances, but it's all set up for what should be a cracking second half.
These two teams need this victory in a bad way after losing each of their last two matches in league play. We're still scoreless after 45 on a beautiful breezy day here in Louisville, and halftime is sponsored by Breeze Airways. Nice, new, and nonstop. That's the Breeze Way. More to come from Lynn Family Stadium, where we are still scoreless.
This is Aaron. Aaron is responsible for prepping the stadium for Lou City game day. The grass is mowed, lines are painted, and the field is watered. Yeah, his team puts in a lot of work, transforming this into this. But weather can get in the way. So to ensure the crowd will be safe, they call Mark at WDRB for the official green light to play. Making the right call and keeping everyone safe. WDRB Weather, the source.
What if we told you that every time you eat, get a new pair of shoes, buy the newest game, or really purchase anything, you could be adding to your savings? With Roundup Checking, every debit card purchase is rounded to the nearest dollar, and the rounded amount is automatically put into a savings account with interest. We'll even double your savings for the first 90 days, which means you could be growing your savings even while you're making the game-winning shot. The best checking account puts money back in your wallet. Apply for Roundup Checking today, only from Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
Choose your character. Wes Sharpie, Rasmus Delofsen, Enoch Mushagalusa, Ray Serrano.
Vamos, Morados.
Watch Louisville City FC take on San Antonio FC, April 15th at 7:30 on WBKI.
When you get proven quality at lower than low, Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Welcome into halftime, brought to you by Breeze Airways. Nice, new, and nonstop. That's the Breeze Way. For Louisville City FC and Detroit City FC, they're hoping to get back in the win column in league play, but this week they both picked up victories in U.S. Open Cup. As he tried to clear it, whipped in the back post. Glancing header from Harris with Mohamed. Saved by Zemla.
Take your yellow, walk away.
One to pull ahead here, Louisville. Del Piccolo to the back post. There it is! It's the old guard for Louisville. Del Piccolo to Tosh and a 1-0 lead. Ray Serrano's in, cuts it back. It's deflected wide. The header saved off the line. Here in the first ever Kentucky Derby. Barely they got through Louisville City FC out of the Kentucky Derby, but the Dirty River Derby is back. FC Cincinnati, their old foe from USL Championship. They will travel to them in the next round.
Should be a fantastic match and a great chance to have a good cup run. Always a big question mark for me, though. When you have the cup run, does it take away your focus from the league play? That's another debate for a different time, but wish them well, and as a player you just love the cup, so you're gonna want to have a good cup run.
And Louisville City FC will have to slay an MLS team on the road. Detroit City FC will have that chance at home against Minnesota United.
It is indeed the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Detroit City FC playing host to Gold Star FC Detroit. We are underway tonight from Keyword Stadium. Matchups as this shot's coming on, bouncing right into the arms. Brandon Barnes heads it right into the air. It's Gat, and he couldn't connect like he was hoping for. Voss coming forward, bouncing, it's headed long, and it's into the corner. And Detroit City finally get that goal. It has long been coming, and Matthews is the one to Hart will deliver, looking for the flick, comes all the way across, and just over the bar. As Detroit City take down Gold Star FC, Detroit 1-0. The first half goal by Yazid Matthews is the difference. Detroit City off to the third round.
Ticket information on your screen. That's going to be quite the environment. We know it always is at Keyword Stadium, but especially welcoming in Minnesota United for the Open Cup.
Yeah, Keyword Stadium on a cup night. We saw it a couple of times last season. That place is absolutely rocking. But again, my question would be the same. Do you want to go through? Do you want a good cup run when it's going to be a tough USL season? Only coaches can answer that, but it's if you ask the locker room, they want to play those games, and I'm sure the players will convince Trevor James to put out his strongest team.
Well, who knows? Maybe Louisville will get past Cincinnati and Detroit will get past Minnesota, and those two teams will meet in the fourth round like they did last year. They're meeting here in the regular season for the first time this year. It's scoreless through 45. More to come from Lynn Family Stadium.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals. We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Beautiful day here in Louisville, Kentucky. Still scoreless between Louisville and Detroit, both looking for goals that will end lengthy goalless droughts. Louisville up to 267 minutes, Detroit City FC at 237. So not too far off of each other, but not in a category you want to be. Step away from this game for a moment and take a look at some news and notes from around USL Championship. 20 of the 24 teams advanced to the third round. Very impressive for the league. And Nico Brett, your player of the week, has been terrific to start this season. We talk about Sacramento and San Antonio in the Western Conference. How about Birmingham Legion in the Eastern Conference so far?
Absolutely brilliant. What a great start. And Nico Brett, 2 goals there against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay are struggling for a team that normally dominates the East, or is one of the teams that dominates. They've had a really tough start. That's what makes this USL League so great, both East and West this year. They're so tough. You don't know who's going to finish top, who's going to finish bottom. It's brilliant.
USL Championship on ESPN. The next game, the first game of the year on ESPN2, is Louisville and Miami. More on that in a second. Here's your scoreboard for the rest of the day. We are the opener on the day, but plenty more action I think my eye goes to one in particular, but I'll see what you have to say first.
I'm just looking at the Florida Derby there.
Oh, it's different than mine.
Miami. Go on, and yours is San Antonio.
Oh, it's got to be. We talked about it the whole first half, San Antonio and Sacramento.
Charleston, they're looking good with Ben Pearman, so we'll see how they go against Hartford. Colorado Springs also with a new coach, Stephen Hogan. I tell you what, that's a decent team as well. So, yeah, lots of really exciting matches to watch.
You're a pro. I know you wanted to say San Antonio, Sacramento, but I think you think that I thought that I was going to say that, so you just said a different one. Louisville City FC pops up twice on the ESPN schedule, and it's going to be the rematch here of this fixture when we're at Keyword Stadium on July 19th against Detroit City FC. That one should be a terrific one, again, at Keyword Stadium with those fans.
It certainly should be, and we'll see if there's revenge required or not, depending on the result from today. And Louisville City at home to a struggling Miami FC, so for Lou City, that's an important match coming up for them on the 13th of May.
Big summer for USL Championship on ESPN2. Big rest of the afternoon coming up here for Louisville City FC and Detroit City FC. When we return, half number 2, will either of these teams break the goalless drought? Will either of them get back in the win column here in the 2023 season? You're just going to have to stick around to find out. More to come.
Did you know taking care of your teeth and gums helps control blood sugar levels? A healthy smile means a healthier you. We can help you get there. Mortensen Family Dental. Schedule online at mortensondental.com. Did you know taking care of your teeth and gums helps lower your risk of heart attack? A healthy smile means a healthier you. We can help you get there. Mortensen Family Dental. Schedule online at mortensondental.com.
A first half full of missed chances for Louisville City FC as we take a look at the highlights.
Yeah, plenty of chances, and they should have buried at least one of them here. Jorge Gonzalez, great ball fall through for Brian Ownby. Of all the players, Brian Ownby, but maybe again, give Nate Steinmosher credit. He read the ball, stopped Brian Ownby, and then it came back the other way. This is a decent free kick taken. Maxi Rodriguez just goes wide, but I think the keeper, Oliver Zemler, had it covered. But mostly it was the home side bombing forward. There was this one moment here with Ben Morris. Look at this pace. He gets away from Josh Winder, sets himself up, and neither hits the target nor ends up crossing the ball for Simonson. Just sort of threads it between the two of them, but nonetheless, absolutely fantastic run. And then this is another great chance. Jorge Gonzalez doing really, really well on the edge of the box here. Cuts inside, ball rolls loose, and then another save from Steinmosher coming out and blocking it. Now this might be the last chance of the first half. Amadou Dia, brilliant here. Well, he goes for the cross. Actually, I thought this was a different one. He goes for the cross, and it nearly beats Nate Steinmosher. And then from the corner, near post flick on, and once again the goalkeeper has to make an important save.
First half stats brought to you by Pave Masters. It paints the whole picture. Nothing else we really need to add. 12 shots to 2, 5 on target to none. This very much should be a Louisville City FC lead, but it's not.
Yeah, and expected goals is 1.17 to 0.18. So there's a whole goal difference, and they should at least be one goal ahead.
Louisville in the purple from left to right. Detroit City in the white and mint from right to left. Couple of changes to get to you at the break for Detroit City FC. They made the one in the first half as Matt Lewis left the field injured, but 2 more at half as Trevor James hopes to spark something. Now underway in half number 2 with Gary Bailey. I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have you with us on a beautiful afternoon at Lynn Family Stadium.
I think one of those changes getting Yazid Matthews on for Detroit, the man who scored the goal in the Open Cup and missed the last match through suspension. He's scored goals for them this season, and if anybody could make the difference, Yazid Matthews could.
Matthews came on for Skage Simonson. O'Neal Fisher came on for Richard Ballard. Substitutions brought to you by Fortna. It'll be interesting to see how that changes things for Detroit City FC in terms of who lines up where. O'Neal Fisher, so far when he's taken the field for Detroit, again, he just signed on March 29th. It has been as a right wing back, so perhaps he pushes Connor Rutson in the midfield. Here's Ownby. Overlap was there from Perez. No changes to report on the Louisville City FC side of things. They have plenty of options off the bench to spark something if they are in need of a goal as this half wears on. Enoch Mushagalusa, Dylan Maris are available. No Cam Lancaster today.
It's not like they've struggled to create chances, just haven't taken them. That's been Lou City's problem. And I'm sure that Coach Danny Cruz has faith in the likes of Brian Nomi that if he gets more chances, one of them will end up in the back of the net. Obviously, it becomes different when you get to the 60th minute or thereabouts. Then you start looking to make changes to get fresh legs on the pitch. And if you haven't scored, then fresh ideas. But for the time being, I think Danny Cruz, he's comfortable and happy with what Lou City have done. He's just frustrated that there's been a couple of one-on-ones with Nate Steinwasser that really they should have tucked at least one of those away.
All the way back to Oliver Zemla, who really has had almost nothing to do today. He watched a free kick sail wide. He came out for a diving header about 35 yards from his line. Maybe that was just to keep busy in some respect. He might be busy here. Turnover by Amadou Diop. It's Rutz leading the way. Bodies forward for Detroit City FC, and Josh Winder with a big tackle to win it. Only yellow card on the field from the first half belongs to Maxi Rodriguez. Louisville City FC still have the full complement of 5 substitutions in 3 windows. Detroit City FC, 2 substitutions in 2 windows. They burned one of those windows in the first half on the Matt Lewis injury.
Here is Yazid Matthews, scorer of the goal with his head in the Open Cup in midweek. And a regular scorer for Detroit City. Good, strong and big target man. And when we chatted to Danny Cruz about what is the threat from Detroit City, he said they have dangerous wing-backs who get balls into the box. And we haven't seen that first half from Detroit City.
Louisville's turn perhaps to get a ball in the box here. Perez to Ownby, fizzes it across. O'Neal Fisher clears it. Amadou Dia keeps it alive for Wilson Harris. Harris over the head of Gonzalez. It's interesting that you bring that up for Detroit City FC where they haven't had that service. Trevor James says this team is always thinking forward. One of the mantras they use around the training ground is think forward, look forward, can you play forward? There hasn't been a lot of that in this one.
There has not in the first half anyway. Wait to see if they can come up in the second half. Conversely, Brian Ownby has got forward and there was a great chance there. He's wide, he's looking for someone in the box. There's no question that Lou City are creating a ton of good situations.
Here's Reese Williams. Moves it across for Rutz. Back to Maxi Rodriguez. That's the first shot in quite a while for Detroit City FC. Only their 3rd of the match, but off target again. Yet to test Oliver Zemla.
It's a long way out. It has to be a really good strike to beat the goalkeeper from there. Again, they're just not getting into the 6-yard box. They're not getting in near the penalty area, Detroit City. It's all long distance. But again, they're 0-0 away at the Eastern Conference champions. They're probably thinking, well, it's not the worst of results so far. And maybe towards the end, we can start to take some risks as we look for a winner.
Intercepted by Michael Bryant. And Tosh gets it right back for Louisville. Not afraid to take it out of the back. Has such a unique role on this back line for Louisville. Danny Cruz trusts him with so much. Little nutmeg on the flick from Ownby. Perez looking centrally. That would have been a pretty build-up and finish had it come off.
Again, beautiful approach play by the boys in purple. There's no question that they're creating really good opportunity. That's just a little bit of class from Brian Ownby. You expect that from him. Different class player in many senses. But again, the final ball just either hasn't got into the box, and when it has, it hasn't been finished off. Be very surprised if they don't find the back of the net. If they can keep this sort of pressure on Lou City, you've got to believe that something's got to work for them. For Detroit, they can't keep allowing all these chances. They've got to get that ball out of their half and start causing a few problems of their own.
Del Piccolo. I feel like Brian Ownby owes Tommy McCabe an apology after that one. Drive from Gonzalez. Look out in the supporters section. They've had plenty of chances, just haven't reined it in quite yet. A lot of missed opportunities today.
Here's this one, Jorge Gonzalez blocked by Nate Steinwasser. This one just over the bar. This was meant to be a cross that Steinwasser had to tip over the post. There was a couple of one-on-ones.
Quick turnover off the goal kick, and Harris puts it wide.
Look at Fiona. Just don't lip read people at home. But it sort of sums up where they're at. They're doing everything right. Look at this lovely ball in. His first touch takes him away from goal, though. It's got to take you towards goal, or you've got to hit it first time. Once you get away from goal, your angle lessens. You give defenders time to close the gap.
Just not used to seeing this from Louisville. A team the last couple of years that seemingly capable of scoring at will with the talent they have in the attack. If there's a positive to take so far for Danny Cruz and company, it's that they've been stout defensively, and they had gotten away from that the last couple of matches, giving up 8 goals in 2 games. But as you figure out the back end, now you have to figure out the front end.
Well, they've got half the front end figured out, which is creating chances, and very, very good chances. The second part of that, of course, is finishing them off, which just hasn't happened. It's just been one of those days as expected goals top left, and again, it just shows you that they're a clear goal ahead of Detroit City, and they should, in fairness, I think, be at least 1-0 up. I would say possibly 2, because they've had so many chances.
Don't think either of these two sides have shown any ill effects of playing in the midweek, as it's rolled ahead to Ownby. It'll be a goal kick here. Much to Ownby's dismay.
Just crashed into that side hoarding, and he grabs his right hamstring. Perez just threading the ball down. Let's have a look. It's got to be a corner, hasn't it? I think Ownby's knocked the ball back. Yeah, it's a clear corner.
Unless the argument is that the ball was already over the end line and Ownby didn't save it, but the angles we saw looked like he did. Although, if anybody watched Japan and Spain in the World Cup this year, you can't really ever tell. It's all about the angles.
Yeah, and also we get to see it on replay, which assistant refs, the ARs, and the referee don't get to see.
Of course. Izzy Matthews tries his luck. Keep an eye on Ownby. Held that hamstring in a grimace. Player who's missed some time the last couple of years. See if he's hobbled at all. His speed, one of his best attributes. And Danny Cruz has been taking a very cautious approach to the beginning of this season. That applies to Cam Lancaster. That applies to Jordan Scarlett. Scarlett hasn't appeared on an injury report the last couple of weeks. There's no disciplinary reason for him not in the lineup either. They're very happy with the way he played the first couple of matches, but they just want to make sure, after seeing the way things went last year with the glut of matches they had around springtime and the way they maybe ran out of steam down the stretch, they're taking a very, very cautious approach to the beginning of this season. So keep that in mind as Danny Cruz has an eye on a former teammate of his in Brian Ownby. Doesn't look quite right still. He's gingerly jogging around his right flank.
We've had a few other injuries besides Cam Lancaster, which you mentioned. Sharpie's been out, McCabe, Serrano, they've all battled, and this is early on in the season, so your point being very valid. And as a manager, as a coach, you have to sort of spread the workload and protect players who are carrying little injuries. At the same time, you have to be winning games, and that's what they're not able to do as yet here.
Gonzalez for Amadou Dia. His cross deflected. Steinwasser keep it in. Yes, he did. No corner. Crowd growing a bit restless with Sergei Demianchuk and his refereeing crew. They've all been very tight, fine margin calls. Can't pin it too much on the referees.
No, not at all. I think it's just pure frustration that Lou City haven't got the go-ahead goal. Of course, the danger is it just takes one good long ball and a quick touch and back of the net, and you're 1-0 down if you lose City. And that's obviously what Detroit City are hoping they can do. Dia with a wry smile, as if, really? That's a free kick?
And with the bodies that they have up front, Detroit City FC, those aerial targets, he's got a gripe here. Maybe he isn't the most promising free kick position, but they can turn it into something with the height they have. O'Neal Fisher approached it initially. Oh, it's Maxi Rodriguez. Rodriguez floats it to the backside of the box, nodded across, goal, blocked by Perez. Where would that have ended up?
That was a shot from Ben Morris, and it looked like it was heading towards goal. That's just a little reminder to Lou City that this match, even at 0-0, is not even a point is guaranteed. They have to score goals if they want to get all 3 points, because Detroit City are always capable of something, and especially with Ben Morris, who we all know from his background as a quality player, injury prone but real quality. Just one moment of magic could seal this for Detroit City.
Louisville City FC will put the World's Game on display at Lynn Family Stadium later this summer when hosting its first ever international friendly. Lou City will welcome Germany's FC Kaiserslautern to town on Wednesday, June 21st. Tickets are in demand and on sale now. For more information, visit loucity.com. Will they have scored a goal by then?
That's a bit harsh.
It's just feeling like it's not going to happen. Everything they've done right, except that final piece, whether it's Steinwasser with a couple of big saves or players you expect to score in Harris and Ownby not doing so.
You get the sense it's coming. It has to. You just can't keep having this many good chances without something going in the back of the net.
At what point does it become almost a negative mindset where you're just dreading almost getting into the attacking third because you don't feel you possibly can score? The doubt creeps in. So many opportunities come and gone.
I doubt that players like Brian Ownby and Wilson Harris will feel that, because they've scored so many goals last season, and they're natural goal scorers. It's more the defensive side of it that can worry you when you concede. So first thing for Lou City, after conceding 8 in 2 matches, a clean sheet is good. But getting past that man there that we just saw, Nate Steinwasser, is turning out to be a real challenge. Maybe bring on Musha Galusa, somebody different, give him a run out. Dylan Merez in midfield, perhaps some fresh legs.
On the flip side, Trevor James has to be happy with what he has seen so far in this second half. They have not conceded as many chances so far, Detroit City FC, through the first quarter of an hour. At halftime, it was a dozen shots for Louisville. They've had just 2 so far in 15 minutes. Detroit City FC actually out shooting Louisville so far in this second half, 3-2. So the response that Trevor James was looking for, as we're past the hour mark now at Lynn Family Stadium. With Gary Bailey, I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have you with us this afternoon, starting the action around USL Championship. Plenty more to come throughout the day, with Miami FC against the Tampa Bay Rowdies at 7:30, and then San Antonio against Sac Republic at 8:30, highlighting the action. around this juncture that Paulo Del Piccolo and Sean Tosh, as they combine right here on the back line, combined for a goal on Wednesday against Lexington in the Open Cup match. Gonzalez for Ownby. Has Perez wide open in space, gets it there. Manny Perez to the backside. Gonzalez never got up for it. Amadou Dia keeps it alive. Rasmus Tellefsen. Louisville not looking like they want to play it out. Loose in front. Steinwasser grabs it off the head of Gonzalez.
Good goalkeeping again from Steinwasser. I thought he was going to come punch it under pressure, but he was able to catch it, which is really good. It's a bit of an injury problem. There's a coming together of bodies. You can see the one body down there for Detroit City. Goes up, goalkeeper shouts, gets there. Okay, Gonzalez challenges, but nice strong hands from Nate Steinwasser and takes the knock, holds on to the ball. Once again, a man of the match performance so far from the man in green.
Steinwasser slips. Seeing a few players stumbling. Just the conditions maybe lingering from Wednesday. The field was very wet. The weather that came through today, a very dry day. Danny Cruz mentioned they were aware how the field might play today, with players still slipping as the grass continues to take hold. Wilson Harris cuts it back. One defender goes flying, and so does the shot wide of the far post.
That's a pity for Wilson Harris. Look at Brian Ownby in your picture there. He made a great run to follow up. If Wilson Harris hits target and Nate Steinwasser can't hold it, Brian Ownby was first to the ball. When you shoot wide, and clearly there's nothing for the goalkeeper to do. And there's a great little bit of skill here. That opens up the chance, but the strike there just drags it wide, and Brian Ownby's head drops. Any chance of a follow-up, gone.
Free kick coming for Detroit City FC. Don't miss a minute of the action in 2023. Whether your club is on the road or at home, catch nearly every second of USL Championship action on ESPN+. Home to the USL, La Liga, Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com.
I think one of the tricky things for Lou City as well, if they only draw this match, they've got San Antonio home next against the champions. That's a tough one. They've got Charleston Battery away. So it could just be that, you know, the season starts to unravel early on if they don't get a result here at home. That's why this next, 27 minutes is so vital for the boys in purple, as it is for Detroit City for other reasons. Obviously, they would slip down the league if they didn't pick up at least a point here.
The good thing for both of these clubs is that 8 teams make the playoffs this year, meaning only 4 in each conference are on the outside looking in. It's going to be a battle till the very end. Now again, it's Detroit City FC with a free kick in the attacking third. So often it feels in matches like this where one side is dominating, and all it takes is one of these, a set piece out of nowhere, and it's Louisville picking the ball up from their own net and staring down a deficit. And Detroit City FC make it count. Talked about Louisville's goalless drought. Detroit City's is now up to 257 minutes. Louisville's 287 minutes. Something's got to give at some point, you think. To the back post, it's loose in front, Ruggs puts it over the bar. What will it take for either of these teams?
Great chance for Detroit City. They've defended so well, and Trevor James will know that they might not get many chances to score against Lou City, and this is a good one. Ball into the mixer, all the bodies go up, it drops. The ball's just lifting, so Connor Rutz, it's difficult for him to get over it, but you've got to try and keep it down somewhat. Just lifts it over the crossbar, but what a chance for Le Rouge.
It has to be a positive for Trevor James to know that any one of those opportunities will fall your way in this second half. They continue to defend well and give themselves some hope. Michael Bryant, I believe, got away with a handball. Danny Cruz arguing with the fourth official. Tosh tried to square it inside for Del Piccolo. With it again for Amadou Dia. Dia picks out the run of Harris, and Steinwasser's there.
Crowd calling for some interference there on Wilson Harris, but referee doesn't see anything untoward. And we were talking about the importance of points for Lou City because they have some tough matches, but if you're looking at Detroit City, they've also got a few difficult ones. They've got Miami away and then followed by Sac Republic away.
Good luck.
good luck, yeah. And then Tampa Bay at home, and you expect Tampa to start gathering momentum. So again, both these teams fighting desperately for points that they need to stay in this top 8 in the playoff places.
Fans topping 9,000 today at Lynn Family Stadium. Another strong showing here in Louisville. Just waiting for a reason to erupt. It's their second home match of the season. And a few tough road trips baked in there. All 3 out to the West Coast at Orange County, Monterey Bay, and Sac Republic. But they have yet to score a home goal this year. Shut out 3-0 by El Paso, still scoreless here. And it's San Antonio looming next. That comes next week. 7:30 Eastern time right here at Lynn Family Stadium. Rematch of last year's final. Perez. Back for Tosh.
One good thing about this Lou City side, well, there's many good things, but what I'm just going to pick out is that they've got 21 players returning from last season. So they can go through these tough times. They know each other in the locker room. They know each other personally. They can stick together. They've been through, you know, some big matches, some finals. And there's a sense of, hey, we've got each other's back. We've got history together. We'll be fine. So I don't expect it to be a crisis season. It's just that, as Danny said last year, they wanted to finish top overall so they could have the home games. And in the end, it was the match away at San Antonio that was the step too far for them, the final game. They wanted to finish top this time around.
Wilson Harris turns. Ownby was there, but the intervention made by Michael Bryant.
And closer and closer, Lou City. Good defending, though, again from Detroit City.
Going back to your remark, it's not like Louisville is playing poorly by most standards. It's just by their standards that they haven't lived up to it. Right here, a chance! Saved by Steinwasser. Loose for Ownby. And cleared away by Detroit City FC.
That is another fantastic save. Jorge Gonzalez getting ahead all from 3 or 4 yards out. And it seemed that the goalkeeper made a fantastic save.
Perez. Give and go, works end line. Perez, it's deflected and headed away by Rutz. Bryant fouled by Perez. Crowd growing restless.
Well, Nate Steinwasser, stand up and take a bow, because it's just been a series of saves. And I think this one could be one of the best, because hard to see, it happened all so quickly, but it looked like it was a save from a point-blank header. Ball knocked back here, whipped in, Tellefson. Yes, it is. It's Jorge Gonzalez heads it, and he just spreads his body big. The goalkeeper hits him in the chest. That is a magnificent save. Brave one, and good positioning of the body. If you add these saves together now, there must be at least 4, maybe 5 match-winning, or certainly goal-saving saves, goal-stopping saves, I should say.
He's made 6, and at least 3 or 4 off the top of the head were highlight real quality saves. Given away by Amadou Dia. Detroit City FC unable to make them pay right then and there, but they will have a corner on the back end of it.
Ben Morris just trying to make a name for himself with that shot there. Just got blocked. There's the Englishman. Born in Ipswich and played for the club against Crystal Palace in a cup match, and shortly afterwards tore 1 ACL, and as you mentioned, the second one then followed. So tough for a young professional when that happens.
Maxi Rodriguez was ready to take it, didn't like what he saw. We'll start it up again. Rodriguez floats it back post. Foul called in the box against Detroit City FC. We're preparing another change. Abdoulaye Diop will come in for Ben Morris.
Well, that was his last chance, that turn and shot for the Englishman.
Substitutions brought to you by Fortna. Second season for Diop with Detroit City FC after 2 years with Atlanta United 2. Helped control the midfield last year as part of the double pivot next to Maxi Rodriguez. Although you and I were talking before the game, it's not necessarily a true double pivot for Detroit City FC because Rodriguez has such freedom to join the attack. Played in by Gonzalez. Kept alive by Gibson.
It's more like Maxi Rodriguez is an 8. He's not a 10, and he's not, I don't think, a 6. He's sort of more of a, as you say, can do both. He can defend and push forward. Tommy McCabe more the 6.
Perez keeps it in. And a Wi-Fi corner kick coming for Louisville.
Another opportunity for the boys in purple.
Now their 5th corner of the match. 16 shots, 6 on target, 5 corners. Nothing to show for it on the scoreboard. Is this the moment here in the 73rd minute? Their scoreless drought ends. It's currently at 340 minutes. Still just nothing doing there for Louisville, even on set pieces. Detroit City FC looking to break out on the counter. Reese Williams. And across all the way for Rodriguez. He'll let it run. Some changes coming for Louisville. Dylan Maris, Enoch Mushagalusa on their way in. Jorge Gonzalez, Brian Ownby checking out. So a swap of the wingers. Substitutions brought to you by Fortna.
I think that's pretty much expected. You need to throw on some fresh legs, and those are your two probably most effective players going forward. Merez in midfield, so much that he brings to the party. 31 years of age and with all his experience. And Mushagalusa, well, he scored enough goals, 11 in 44. He knows how to find the back of the net, and right now they need him desperately, do Lou City.
Bryant turns and gets it past Dylan Maris. Out to Reese Williams. Fans, you can head to Twitter to vote on tonight's Lynn Family Sports Vision and Training Man of the Match. Polls will be open for the next 10 minutes. Vote now at twitter.com/Lou City. Anybody's guessing who it could be so far. Diop. Decided, however, in the next 10 minutes. So maybe hold on to your vote while you still have the time. Is there a hero in this for either side? After losing 2 in a row, both of these teams, a 0-0 draw probably won't feel great. It's better than a 3rd straight loss for either side, but probably not what either hoped for coming into the day.
I think for Detroit City, a draw is not a bad result. You're looking at being away from home, on the road, against the reigning Eastern champions. I think they would have taken a draw. I think for Lou City, the only positive, well, there's 2 positives. One is a clean sheet so far, and the other is they've created a ton of chances. But the frustration will be in the finishing, the quality they've got on the pitch, and they've always been able to score a ton of goals. It's never been their problem, and yet here it is. It'll be the third match in a row if it remains scoreless. But they haven't hit the back of the net.
Perez, Harris, wide.
It's not happening for them, is it? Does well there, Wilson Harris, but got to keep the ball down. Again, they're getting wide. They're getting into great positions and getting decent ball in. That's a really good cross that from a difficult position there. Manny Perez hooking it over his shoulder. He gets there first, Wilson Harris, but just doesn't keep it down enough.
Paco Craig leads Miami FC into Kentucky to face Josh Winder and this Louisville City FC side, the reigning Eastern Conference winners. Don't miss the start of the new season of USL on ESPN Saturday, May 13th at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. Rodriguez on the turn. Won by Winder, leading the attack through Wilson Harris. It's with Dylan Maris. Lofted toward the back post, Tellefson unable to get up to meet it. Out for a corner.
Josh Winder made a good run there, got himself in the center of the box. That might have been a better option. Bigger, taller player than Tellefson. In the end, the cross ending up at the far post, and Tellefson not really able to make an attempt to hit it. But again, another useful set piece they've got here.
In the 78th minute, the goalless drought is precisely 300 minutes. The Wi-Fi corner kick is loose. And it goes on a little bit longer, that drought for Louisville. Tosh has a go. It's blocked. Tosh on the back end, waiting for it. Michael Bryant nods it clear.
The pressure incessant now coming from the home side. It's just wave after wave of attack or set piece.
Del Piccolo fools everybody, cuts it inside to Perez. Harris for Maris. Mushagalusa on his right foot. It's blocked by Rutz. Getting so many bodies back behind the ball. Detroit City FC defending with all they've got. Not allowing any shots through now to Steinwasser.
You see Matthews blown up, but what it does do is just slow things down. But you're right, look at those white and mint outfits all behind the ball there in that final third of the pitch.
All 10 of them in your picture right now. O'Neal Fisher wins it from Mushagalusa. Throw incoming for Louisville. It's almost as if Detroit City FC has parked the bus and is content to get out of here with a scoreless draw.
As I said, I think it'd be a decent result for Detroit City. But there's still 10 minutes to go, and the pressure is just ratcheting up notch by notch.
Long throw from Dia, and it away by Fisher. Maris still with that cast on his right thumb. He broke it earlier this season. Gets it out wide for Dia. Now Mushagalusa. His cross steered away for another corner. The 7th corner of the match now for Louisville City FC.
Drums are still thumping in the background there. The fans have been supporting non-stop, willing that goal to go in.
Maris couldn't get it past the first defender. Second crack at it. Loose in front. There it is for Louisville. Wilson Harris breaks the drought.
It had to come, didn't it? There was too much pressure, too many balls in the box, and in the end, it wasn't the most eloquent of goals, but you know what? They all count. Whipped the ball in from out wide. Wilson Harris getting on the end of it, flicking it past Nathan Steinwasser, who has been absolutely brilliant all match, but couldn't do anything to stop this. It was Yasid Matthews who clears the ball, and it gets whipped in again from Maris. And it's just that subtle, faint touch, and eventually, and at last, Detroit City's defense has been broken, their goalkeeper's been beaten. And now the big question is, can Detroit bounce back, or is this going to be Loose City's night?
That is the first goal of the season for Wilson Harris. After amassing 15 last year, he gets his first this year. That That goal presented by Kentucky Lottery, fueling imagination, funding education. Kentucky Lottery.
So what was that in the end? Just over 300 minutes they went without scoring. But there's some relief on that bench for Danny Cruz and company.
I believe they'll officially credit it as being scored in the 80th minute. So carry the one, 302 minutes, the drought for Louisville.
Wow. Now, if you lose City, what you don't want to do is go and mess it up now by not concentrating. So they need to defend and defend stoutly, especially after conceding 8 in 2 goals. If they concede one here, the manager will go crazy in the locker room, you would think. Of course, it's the obvious opposite for Detroit City. They've got a chance now from a set piece to get back on level terms and take a point away from Lynn Family Stadium.
From the corner, headed clear, and now further away by Gibson. Now 3:03, 80th minute for Wilson Harris. It officially goes down in, so 3:03. Semla not taking any chances. Carroll slow to get up.
Now, as always, when you're in the lead in the last 10 minutes, it's about game management, keeping possession, getting the ball down the opposition half, not making any silly mistakes, all those good things. And that's the aim for Lou City.
If this scoreline holds, it's not going to sit well with Trevor James. It would be their 4th loss of the season, and all 4 would have been by the same 1-0 scoreline for Detroit City FC. Obviously, losing in any regard is not what you want, but for all 4 to be 1-0, knowing you were that close, knowing you were in the game, but it's just a lack of finishing. To be a disappointment for Detroit City FC unless they could change that here in the closing moments.
If this result holds, then Lou City go into 2nd spot, just a point behind Birmingham Legion, although Birmingham will have a game in hand, but that's more where Lou City fans are used to seeing their team. For Detroit, well, there's a very strong possibility they could drop out of the playoff spots, and as you say, without a striker scoring goals. They did lose Pato, they lost Hopeno. I mean, those are 2 fantastic strikers they lost, as well as Declan Wynn at left back. But the 2 men up front, those are the 2 that have been the hardest to replace.
Zemla, where are you going? Almost lost it. He has not had work to do today, has not had to make a single save. Detroit City FC don't have a shot on target. Making work for himself there.
Would not go down well if it was a goalkeeper error that gave the equalizer after all the hard work of trying to break down this wonderful Detroit defense, marshaled so well by Steinwasser. But having said that, if he keeps a clean sheet, Oliver Zemla, even though he didn't do a hell of a lot, we get to think, so you would assume that he'd keep his spot ahead of Carl Morton, because that's what coaches go on. If you can keep a clean sheet, then the job should be yours to keep, for a while anyway.
In danger of losing that here as Reese Williams tries to turn, but Mushagalusa does the hard work coming back defensively.
A bit of criticism for Mushagalusa against Sac Republic down his side, that left-hand side where all the goals came from early in the game. His defensive duties perhaps questioned, but good work there by Mushagalusa to defend.
Would be massive to the confidence of Louisville City FC if they can hold on. They were happy to come away from the Lexington game on Wednesday in Open Cup with the victory. They felt it could have been more than 1-0, but just happy to finally get that taste out of the mouth of the previous few matches. If it's the same scoreline again, it means they keep 2 consecutive clean sheets in all competitions, but still a question of the finishing. A lot of opportunities left out there, and they're not out of the woods just quite yet. It's loose for a moment. Shout of handball from Detroit City FC goes unanswered.
That's the big danger, isn't it, for Lou City? And that was a swipe at the ball there by Reese Williams. Just got it blocked by defenders, but that's what Detroit will be looking for. Can they sneak one in? And if the forwards can't score, then chuck up some of the defenders, see if they can get the equalizer.
They have great height back there. Start bombing balls forward, hope for the best, but now in danger on the other end as Dia leads the charge for Dylan Maris. Maris cutting and shooting. They believe he brings a different element to Louisville City FC than what Corbin Bone brought last year. Bone better box to box, Maris better in the attacking end. One more change coming here for Detroit City FC. Adrian Billhart in for Reese Williams. Tonight's Lynn Family Sports Vision and Training Man of the Match reported in the stadium is Jorge Gonzalez per the fan vote. See, that's the problem sometimes. Depending on when that vote opens on Twitter, I think a lot of fans might have gone with Wilson Harris if they had a little bit more time, scoring what could go on to be the winner. Although Gonzalez popped up in a lot of big key spaces today for Louisville and is very deserving.
He had a few good chances that Nate Steinwasser saved well.
McCabe lost a free kick forward, and no harm, no foul. He's all the way through for a goal kick.
It's going to be a big challenge for Trevor James to find the goal scorer there, by the way, is Jorge Gonzalez. You mentioned the Lynn family man of the match. But they need something on the other side, Detroit City. They've got to replace Pato, they've got to replace Hopeno. And here it comes. Well-deserved applause.
Elijah Winder for Wilson Harris. Goal came in the 80th minute. And so far, holding up as the winner.
Good ball in from Dylan Maris, and he just gets a toe on the end here and puts it past Nate Steinwasser, and from 4 yards out, keeper has no chance, and at last he got his breakthrough there, Wilson Harris, and that's why he's a quality player. Eventually you know he's going to take one of them. But overall they created a ton of chances. And maybe you would think should have scored 2 or 3, but back to Trevor James, his team didn't create the chances, nor have they had someone to finish them, so he's going to rebuild their team after losing some quality players, and that's not going to be easy to do in a very, very tough league. I think also what's difficult for Detroit City, last year was their first in the USL, and they were just fantastic. They performed way above expectations, but now you've got to follow that up with another good year, and not easy to do. Last year
they've done it year after year, 8 straight trips to the Eastern Conference Final.
I'm talking about Detroit City.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Is that it was their first season in USL last year. They were unknown quantity, and you weren't quite sure how to deal with them. And on their stadium, at Keyworth, they were just like, it was a ferocious crowd. But teams have got used to that now, and that makes it so much more difficult for Trevor James in the second season.
They're going to have to start picking up more points at home. That's what they really hung their hat on last year.
Yep.
Offside flag comes up. The 90th minute now. Positives to take for Detroit City FC, I suppose, would be that they held as long as they did without conceding, but it's not like they didn't concede opportunities. At the moment, 21 shots, 7 on target for Louisville City FC. Those are astronomical numbers.
Yeah, it's not good for Detroit City because their goalkeepers had to bail them out again, which fantastic. They have that good goalkeeper, and he's part of the team, of course, but as a coach, I think you're looking at it going, you can't keep everything out every game. And against RGV at home, they struggled. Against Indy 11 at home, they struggled. Their XG at home against Indy 11 was 0.7. It's not even 1 goal. You know, Where's it going to come from? They were under 1 goal XG at home against RGV as well. So both are home games, not even up to 1 goal. I'm guessing for this match, they're not near 1 goal either.
3 minutes of stoppage time brought to you by the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport.
Just to confirm that XG for Detroit's 0.66.
Good enough. Trevor James honest about it. And his self-scouting knew that goal scoring would be the issue, replacing what they lost from last year. They're happy with the chance creation that they possibly have in terms of the crosses from out wide and the way they play. Just a question of who would step up, hoping that Simonson or Morris could do that for them. Perhaps Yazeed Matthews has a goal this season and a goal in Open Cup. Seems like it's going to take a little bit of time for them to gel and finally start finding that offensive rhythm.
Yeah, in a much tougher Eastern League than it was last year when the two teams, the development teams, were around now. It's a brutal league, both East and West. I think Trevor James's success last year has maybe sort of set the bar so high for fans of Detroit City that they expect to make the playoffs. They expect to be beating the top teams, and they don't have the same budget, I don't think, as some of the bigger sides.
Flag comes up on Mushagalusa.
Mind you, for Lou City, again, 3 points, if it stays that way, is crucial, because San Antonio home next, Charleston away next. They're going to be tested a lot of times in this season. This is going to be, I think, for Lou City fans, for those who love the boys in purple, it's going to be not the normal season of cruising to the top and Danny cruising to the top. There's going to be a lot of very, very difficult matches and testing times throughout this season for every team, I think.
One last chance perhaps for Detroit City FC, closing in on the 3-minute mark here in stoppage time. O'Neal Fisher pushes it ahead. Rutz plays it out. Cross comes in. Loose for a moment for McCabe. Body's flying, and the foul called against Detroit City FC. That should bring us to our final whistle. And if it does, Trevor James is not going to be happy about another game gone by without a clean sheet when that was their calling card last year.
Yeah, it'll be 4 wins in 4 for Lou City against Detroit. 3 last year, 2 in USL and 1 in the Open Cup. So it seems like they've got their number.
They've all been tight games. 2-1, 1-0, a 1-1 draw in Open Cup. They won in penalties, and 1-0 here again. Teams will meet in July in Detroit on ESPN2. But here tonight at Lynn Family Stadium is Louisville City FC snapping a 2-match losing skid here in USL Championship, ending a 303-minute goalless drought in the 80th minute. Wilson Harris supplies the winner, and all smiles here in Louisville.
Yeah, relief, I'm sure, for all the Lou City players and staff after 2 horrendous games. They've come back in style, they've got the points. Trevor James shaking everyone's hand as he always does. Such a good and well-liked manager, but he'll know that there's a lot of big challenging times ahead for La Rouge, Detroit City, and I think the fans must expect it's going to be a challenging season. But you know what, I think even just survival, given that last season was their first in the league, survival is still a decent achievement for Detroit City.
Louisville City fans, you can head to your local Wendy's tomorrow to get a free small Frosty, no purchase necessary. You have to get Gary out there as well to have a Frosty for the first time in his life. Clean sheet kept by the boys in purple today. Mortensen Family Dental clean sheet. A clean game calls for a healthy, clean smile, and plenty of those all around. Oliver Semla gets the clean sheet in goal for Louisville City FC. And Wilson Harris scores the winner. So it finishes 1-0. We're back on the other side of this to wrap things up. Final score brought to you by Gorski Law Office. It took a while for that moment to finally come for Louisville, but that it did, and they take all 3 points and take this one for their 3rd victory of the season.
When you get proven quality at lower than low prices with Curve Fresh,
it's game time, baby. Are you ready? 'Cause I'm ready. It's game time. It's game
Big day for Louisville City FC. There was an egg hunt before the game. Danny Cruz's son, Shirley, was out there. Now he's on the field with Dad celebrating the victory here. Post-game presented to you by the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety. They take all 3 points with this 1-0 victory. Take a look at the full-time highlights. It was just onslaught after onslaught in the offensive ways of attack for Louisville. Finally, they break through.
They did. They put so much pressure on. Nate Steinwasser just made save after save. This is a flick on at the near post. He had to face 2 one-on-ones in that first half. There was a bunch of other big saves that the number 1 for Detroit City had to make. But the pressure was coming. Balls are whipped into the box here. And that header, what a point-blank save from Steinwasser, from Jorge Gonzalez's header. They brought Dylan Merez on, and he started to make a difference in midfield. The build-up here, this is hooked over the shoulder, and this is the header from Wilson Harris, just goes over the crossbar. So besides all the chances in the first half, there was a whole ton of them in the second half, and this is the goal itself. Dylan Merez out wide. Well, first the corner comes in and gets cleared. Then Dylan Merez gets it, brings it down. There, just controls it, whips it in, and at last for Lou City anyway, they got their foot on the ball. Wilson Harris puts it past Nate Steinwasser, and there wasn't much Detroit City offered in attack after that. It was a comfortable 1-0 in the end.
Take a look at the full-time stats brought to you by Pavemasters. The shot disparity tells you everything you need to know about this game. But again, Louisville City FC might be unhappy that it was only 1-0. Happy, of course, to get the win, but they know going forward they're going to want to put more in.
Oh yeah, there was 2 one-on-ones with a keeper. They had to bury at least one of those. It should have been a lot more comfortable a match. Credit though to Detroit City for their defending. But look, Detroit shots on target 0. The entire match, they didn't create much. They didn't score, obviously. They had to defend really well, but they rely so much on their goalkeeper having a blinder game in and game out. And well, that's difficult to do.
Well, from here, Louisville City FC will host San Antonio next week. Detroit City FC on the road against Miami as the USL Championship season is now in full swing. A happy Easter weekend to all of you who celebrate. And it's a lot of celebration here today for Louisville City FC, picking up a win, snapping the losing streak. That does it for us from Lynn Family Stadium. My broadcast partner Gary Bailey and the crew that makes this possible. I'm Joe Malpa saying good afternoon from Louisville. Enjoy the rest of the day of USL Championship action.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.